Three Houston area mothers are suing the state of Texas over a new law requiring the Ten Commandments be displayed in every public school classroom. This spring, a federal appeals court upheld the law, allowing it to go into effect when school starts later this month. KVUE's Daniel Perot is here. And Daniel, we've seen several unsuccessful attempts to overturn this law, but this lawsuit is a little bit different.
It takes a bit of a different legal approach than what we've seen before. Rather than looking at federal law and the separation of church and state, this lawsuit argues that displaying the Ten Commandments violates Texas's own state laws. There's a new effort to block and remove posters with the Ten Commandments from Texas classrooms. Three Houston parents are suing the state, arguing the state-mandated displays violate state laws on religious freedom and parental rights. Audrey Nath is one of those parents.
That's not separation of church and state.
So far, the posters have survived legal challenges in federal court, and in April, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled mandating posters be up in every classroom does not violate the U.S. Constitution.
I wouldn't say the federal decision helps the plaintiffs. I also don't think it's that big of an impediment.
Rather than make the argument about church and state, this new lawsuit relies on a 1999 state law, the Texas Religious Freedom Restoration Act. University of Houston law professor Seth Chandler says the law gives people more religious freedom than the U.S. Constitution.
It requires that if there's been a substantial burden on the exercise of religion, then it becomes the government's burden to show that they have a compelling interest in doing what they've done.
The parents suing also invoked the constitutional amendment Texas voters approved in November, which guarantees a parent's right to direct their child's upbringing.
We're going to have to figure out exactly how that constitutional provision works in the educational context.
The law requires schools display the Protestant version from the King James Bible. Districts are not required to buy the posters, but they do have to put them up if they get a donation. The parents argue displaying the Ten Commandments in public schools forces their children to see religious messages that conflict with their family's religious teachings. For instance, Nath is teaching her children about multiple religions.
I'm hopeful that we have this avenue of the state law that we can use to show that this is not what freedom of religion looks like in Texas.
Texas has defended the displays, saying they're critical to teaching U.S. history. The group Texas Values has donated thousands of posters to school districts.
They have influenced many legal codes throughout history, but especially those in the United States.
So another legal battle begins, and whether these mothers prevail lies with them.
This is going to be the plaintiff's burden to show that being basically overwhelmed by every single classroom, every single day, having the Ten Commandments posted, which specify who is God, that burdens their religious liberty. The real issue is, what does the Texas Religious Freedom Restoration Act actually mean in this context?
A question the court will soon answer. The three mothers are asking a judge to grant them a temporary restraining order blocking school districts from displaying the Ten Commandments before the new school year starts later this month.